Let's go inside Oceanside, the largest and northernmost city in coastal San Diego County. Inside Oceanside explores unique locales, introduces you to interesting people, and brings you to the center of exciting events in Oceanside and around North County. In this month's edition, we'll explore Oceanside's first outdoor sculpture competition at Civic Center Plaza. Then we'll walk through the doors of Oceanside's community resource centers, and we'll see how another valuable city service makes housing affordable for many Oceanside families. And lastly, we take to the sea for the 11th annual Pow Pow 9-man Outrigger Race. A wealth of talent was on display at the Oceanside Outdoor Sculpture Competition held recently at Civic Center Plaza. Join us and find out which of these masterful creators carved their way into the history books at this first ever event.
When we think about sculptures, Egyptian sphinxes, or even the Great Statue of Liberty come to mind. In the heart of Oceanside, 13 local artists showed off their own sculptures by putting a modern flair to an old art form.
This is our second annual sculpture competition, and we put it on to bring the artists out into the community and to give the community a good, broader view of what the local artists are doing with their work.
See what artists were doing, local artists were doing in Oceanside, and to promote that kind of artistic outreach and movement in our local community.
You know, art really is a basic essential in any community. It just will, it's a spark that, it's like a good football team or something like that.
Their featured sculptures sparked a lot of attention from the community. All day, people admired the art and voted for which sculpture they thought should win.
It's a very good job. For me, I liked it a lot.
I really liked Egrets. I liked the Tres Mujeres a lot.
This one is my favorite. It's got a primitiveness that I find appealing.
KOCT followed two of the artists in the Oceanside Sculpture Competition to understand the hard work and detail it takes to make a sculpture a work of art.
I think I've always been an artist. My mother would say I'd wake up during the night and ask for crayons when I was really little. And I remember in kindergarten doing a painting, and the teacher was just amazed because I went to her and everybody was painting. And as a little kindergarten student, I says, I'm having trouble doing the wheels in the back of the buggy. And the teacher went to my father and said, I think you better get her some art lessons.
Carolyn Guerra is the artist of the I'll Teach You to Fish sculpture. She gave KOCT a closer look at the work it takes to create a sculpture from the bottom to the top. So tell us about this piece that you're going to put into the competition, I'll Teach You to Fish.
Okay. Well, initially I started just with the ceramic head part. That's what I made first. And in my studio, if you look around, I have all pieces of things I make that I incorporate later because you can't do it all at once. The ceramic pieces need to be fired. So sometimes I don't know what I actually made these fish for another piece, but then I needed it for this piece, so I'll have to make some more.
So you put it in there.
But it just seemed right as I was working on it. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I knew I wanted her to have that head, and it was a woman, a tall woman. But then as I incorporated the fish in for the idea for Oceanside, I thought she looked like a regal woman and a teacher, and so then I came up with the part of the quote, I'll teach you to fish.
So the fish have a big part to do with it for Oceanside.
Yes.
That was one of your main goals. You wanted to incorporate the city into your art.
Right.
Okay.
And to be close to that's the beauty of Oceanside, I think, the name of the city and just where it is. I mean, how great can you be right next to the Pacific Ocean?
You're always learning from whether you're painting or sculpting, you're always learning something more. And also what I really enjoy is when I can evoke an emotion.
So how did you kind of transition into sculpting? Because they're pretty different.
They're different, but they're alike in a way because a lot of my sculptures are about the human figure And like the particular one here is really about dancers. I worked a lot with the San Diego Civic Youth Ballet and with ballet dancers, modern dancers, and the poses that they can strike. The thing I like most about the sculpting is really that you can, it's a hands-on activity. You really have to get in and manipulate the clay and force it and pull. And so you really, as opposed to painting, which is it's a one-dimensional. Yeah. When sculpting is very three-dimensional, and that's the main difference. And so you're really manipulating, and it's a real hands-on type of application.
Patrick Korch is a veteran artist whose works range from oil paintings to sketches, and most recently sculptures, which includes his piece for the sculpture competition, Spring.
I worked with a lot of figures, and I worked with a lot of dancers, and that's how this got inspired, was from a ribbon dance event. And so Spring, because it's dancing into the new season, if you would. And this one, after I had it waxed and I took it down and we were through with the bronzing process, we did a certain patina on it, which is the finishing work on it. And patinas are just basically different chemicals that react to the bronze under heat. They take a big blowtorch and they heat this up, and then they'll start to dip their brushes into and put it onto the surface in different ways. Like here, they've modeled it so it looks a little bit like marble and darker. And then I had it coming up into the light area where I wanted it to feel like it had a spotlight coming on her. And so the rest of it would fade away, and you could just see her coming up and out.
Back at the sculpture competition, things were getting heated as the judges began critiquing the sculptures.
We're looking for materials, how they handle the materials, the technique, what are their capabilities with each different medium, because they're all different, and then kind of the artistic integrity, what they're kind of bringing to the table to show their personality off.
I enjoy all of them, really. They evoke different things in me.
They're all very good. I was really excited to see that quality of work coming out here at Oceanside. Really surprised at some of the work that the craftsmanship involved, and the technique is really cool.
People's Choice went to Baby M, It's Hard Work won an honorable mention, and Patrick Korch's Spring took home second place. Sid Harris won first place for his piece Connected, created out of one single piece of alabaster stone.
It always feels good to come out on top, you know. If you're going to get involved in something like this, I understand that people appreciate what you do. I think that the city's enriched by its opportunity to provide a forum for art.
I think it brings people downtown. I think that people that are visiting get to see an aspect of Oceanside that they might not normally see.
It's great for the artists, but I think it says a lot about the culture of a community.
No, it's good for people to be inspired, to see art. It's needed, you know, to be creative, to have creative outlets and things like that.
Oceanside's community centers are a valuable resource that has helped turn tarnished neighborhoods into thriving communities. KOCT talked to young and old alike about these hubs of support that have helped open up the world and transform lives.
Flashback to Oceanside in the 1990s. Some of the city's neighborhoods were overrun by gangs and drugs. The community was fed up and demanded that the violence stop. The city of Oceanside responded by establishing a number of community centers that helped the residents take back their neighborhoods. Fast forward to Oceanside today, and you will discover 4 flourishing centers: the Chavez Resource Center, San Luis Rey Valley Resource Center, Libby Lake Community Center, and the Crown Heights Community Resource Center. We dropped by each center to see how they're making such a difference in Oceanside. The Chavez Resource Center focuses on empowering residents to speak out about the needs of the East Side neighborhood.
The East Side neighborhood serves mostly Latino immigrant families who were first established here back in the 40s and 50s. What people do here in the community is that they gather together to learn English. We used to have ESL classes. We have aerobic classes for health. We have an after-school program for our children that cannot qualify for a paid after-school program. Every class that comes into the Chavez Resource Center is free. We had Manuel, a young man who was getting into problems, and he started coming to the center and helping with the after-school program. And he says I was like his second mother. Well, He's succeeded. He's working for Homeland Security now. 2 weeks ago, some people were saying they didn't want to get involved because they were afraid. I said, you live here, you have to get involved.
One way for residents to participate is to attend the monthly UCAN meeting. The United Community Action Network group consists of concerned citizens dedicated to keeping Eastside safe and gangs out.
We basically started 16 years ago when we decided to take our neighborhood back. We either had the choice to stay here or sell our homes and move on. But most of us decided that we were going to stay here, regardless of how bad it was. So now we're active here, and we've been active for 16 years.
The San Luis Rey Valley Resource Center is located in the North Valley and was the first resource center built in Oceanside. The center works with the community to provide services like food supplemental programs, Spanish Alcoholics Anonymous, and karate.
It's open to have activities out here for the kids. This area of Oceanside has always kind of had a bad name. We cover Del Rio and Libby school areas. We go by what the community comes and tells us that they need. We have after-school program. We have Brother Benno's where they get food boxes. We have a turnabout of clothes. People donate clothes and other people can come get in and get it. We had a young girl that came every day, and next to her was a family that was threatening them. And on her own, because her parents were afraid to call the police, she met an officer here. We made arrangements for her to meet an officer here during our youth hours, and she told them what was happening at their house so the police could keep an eye on it and take care of the matter. I think in any neighborhood in Oceanside where there's a resource center or a community center, I think the residents in that neighborhood, first of all, should go in and visit it and get familiar with it, but they might also inquire what needs that resource center has.
In the Libby Lake neighborhood, a new 13,000 square foot community center was built in 2003. The Libby Lake Community Center was part of a large revitalization plan for the neighborhood and offers a Teen Reach after-school program, Vista Community Clinic, and SEER Jobs for Progress. With the addition of this community center and the response of the residents, the reduction in crime and gang activity has been significant. The Crown Heights Community Resource Center tries to encourage resident involvement as well, most recently by hosting a fun neighborhood festival, with the goal of distributing information, building positive relationships with the police force, and bringing the community together.
We have an after-school program. It's provided by North County Lifeline. Basically, they run a program which is currently attracting between 50 and 80 kids.
Kids during that time of the 3 hours aren't getting into any type of trouble. They're not doing anything bad on the streets, and they're staying positive. They also do homework, which is a huge, huge thing, especially the Oceanside School District loves, because they're making a difference. They're showing great opportunity. They're moving up. They're not just at home watching TV. They're coming to a place where they can come and have fun every day.
I maintain like a 3.5 or above, and I don't fall below a 3.0 because I come here.
They help me out with my homework. And I know since I came from Mexico, but was originally born here, and it was kind of difficult for me to understand it more, so I came here and they helped me out.
My brother, he got in the gang, but then he got out, and now he's coming to this after-school program.
The center also hosts free ballet folklorico and Aztec dancing classes. The ballet folklorico class comes from a volunteer who learned the dance at Ditmore Elementary and decided that he wanted to give back to his community.
And it's a program that we're trying to get the kids involved, so we wanted to keep them out of the gangs, out of the drugs, and for them to learn something positive.
There's no Aztec dance group up here in North County Oceanside. We practice every Saturdays. The purpose, our primordial focus is to work with the community. Our second focus is to work with local natives around. And the third is for personal growth within the group.
Now I see a real change in a lot of the kids where, you know, they're actually making plans to go to college. I was talking to a young man this morning and asked him what he wanted to do, and he's talking about engineering. And he's already picked out his school, you know, Cal State Long Beach. It's just amazing to me to see the turnaround in what's happening in this neighborhood.
Each one of those kids, boys and girls, little kids, they're my kids for that moment. I'm going to take the best care possible, and I know that when a kid graduates Coming up here pretty soon, I know when he walks the line, I know that I've made a huge, huge improvement. If I have 65 kids and it's one kid that makes it successful, that walks down that line, I know that I'm making a difference.
It's been a positive for the city. I mean, our neighborhoods are turning around, so it makes economic sense for the city as well, because it's improved the city and it helps improve the whole outlook of people in Oceanside.
Though these resource centers serve 4 different neighborhoods, they all give their residents something crucial: a sense of community and the power to keep Oceanside safe. For Inside Oceanside, I'm Bobby Polsky.
So what do people do when financial circumstances make living in an expensive real estate market almost impossible? Let's see how the Housing and Neighborhood Services Department's array of programs are designed to give people a step up right to the front door of their own home.
Despite a recession and the fall of the housing market, Southern California remains one of the most expensive places in America to find housing. The Oceanside Housing and Neighborhood Services Department is dedicated to helping low and moderate income families find safe, decent, affordable housing. The department administers an array of programs that many people don't even know exist. David Manley is the department's division manager.
Affordable is considered 80% or lower of area median income, and for a family of 4, the average area median income is $74,000. So you take 80% of that, family of 4 making $64,000 or $65,000. Anywhere else in the country, that would be considered high income.
One of the ways the City of Oceanside helps make housing more affordable is with federal assistance from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, known as HUD.
We have about 1,300 vouchers available to Oceanside residents. What it provides is housing assistance payments between what people can afford as part of their income and what the actual rent is.
In a city of about 180,000 people, where housing costs are high, the waiting list for that limited number of vouchers runs into the thousands. Wait times can be measured in years. That's why it's to the city's advantage to move people off assistance and free up vouchers for somebody else. That's where the Family Self-Sufficiency Program for people on Section 8 can help. Renee Tarver coordinates this critical program for the city.
You sign a 5-year contract, and your goals are to become employed full-time, and that nobody in your household will be receiving cash assistance at the time that you graduate.
Participants in the program, a majority of them single moms, can receive job training, help in earning their GEDs, and financial counseling. As they find better paying jobs and earn more towards their rent, the city reduces their assistance and puts the savings in an interest earning account.
And at the end of the 5-year period, when they graduate successfully, the participant gets that money.
It's tax-free and can total $10,000 or more.
And what the tenants have told me is that it seems too good to be true, that they're going to get money just for doing what they do. So we do have to market the program a lot.
In 12 years, there have been 118 graduates from the program. Tammy is one of them. She was once a part-time coach driver with lots of debt who needed Section 8 assistance to afford her rent. The FSS program gave her a chance to dream.
I was thinking home ownership. I was thinking, hey, this is a great way I could use that money as a down payment on my first home.
She set goals, increased her credit score by paying off debt, to get off government assistance and become full-time at her job.
I completed all my goals in the 5-year period, and the last one that I, was stumbling with was getting a credit score up to where I needed it to be to get home ownership. But I did it. I just continued to pay off some bills.
The lump sum payment waiting at the end of the contract kept her motivated.
Knowing that they were putting money aside for me, and it was accumulating up, and every year they would send you a letter letting you know how much you had in your account, and every year it just kept getting bigger and kept growing, so that motivated me. I got like $8,000 in that 5-year period, and I used $5,000 down on my first home.
She has been a homeowner for 4 years now. Her days as a renter, on government assistance, and in debt seem like a long time in the past.
No, I wouldn't have believed it, because I was a single parent, I had 2 kids, working part-time. I never thought I would be able to own my own home. They helped me a whole lot, and I don't need them anymore. Someone else needs them, so I'm glad to be off so someone else can step in and use that voucher.
Allison was once a homeless teenager. Now she's a records supervisor at a power plant. She's expecting to receive an escrow of about $7,000.
I just graduated from the FSS program, and it's a big step, so hopefully the escrow that I get will go towards a home.
For Oceanside residents who already own their homes, the city administers the Residential Rehabilitation Program. Housing specialist Sarah DeVallo says her clients are low-income families who need low-interest loans to improve their most important asset, their homes.
So we take care of everything that is substandard, and it includes everything in the property: windows, doors, roof, painting, flooring, you name it.
Perhaps the most high-profile activities of the Housing and Neighborhood Services Department are the acquisition and rehabilitation projects, which not only affect the lives of residents, but also can improve entire neighborhoods. The grand reopening of the Country Club Apartments is a recent success story.
That we partnered with a nonprofit developer to take a complex that actually had high crime rate, deferred maintenance, really needed a facelift and improvement, both visually and how it was functioning.
After several years in development, the new Country Club Apartments was rededicated in July, with 90 housing units for working families. Mayor Jim Wood announced the grand reopening.
Not many communities in this day and age with this economic situation going on are willing to step forward and help in the affordable housing community. And I think Oceanside has been one of the forefronts in the San Diego region saying, yes, we will give back to the community and try to help. But also, I need to thank the citizens of Oceanside for allowing us to spend their money in a positive way.
After a total rehabilitation, the transformation of the Country Club Apartments is stunning. Resident Millie Gordon has lived at the Country Club Apartments for 4 years.
It's not a shameful thing to have friends over anymore. They say, oh, what a lovely apartment complex. Are they still renting? And I send them to the manager, put your name on the list.
These are just some of the programs run by Oceanside's Housing and Neighborhood Services Department, a part of city government dedicated to making sure that working people can still afford to live in a beautiful city by the side of the Pacific Ocean. This is Catherine Green for Inside Oceanside.
Oceanside recently hosted the 11th annual Pow Pow 9-Man Outrigger Race, which proved to be more than just a competition. Come with us for a day in the sun that's more about celebrating friendship and camaraderie than victory.
Outrigger canoeing is based upon the ancient Polynesian method of transportation across open ocean.
Originally, it was really just a way to gather food, to fish, and the wealthy began racing the canoes, and that's how outrigger paddling became a sport. It started here in the mid-50s, and from there, the sport has grown.
Outrigger canoeing demands teamwork, timing, physical strength, being able to work together.
Mental focus, mental toughness is very, very important.
You know, the ocean has a mind of its own, and it's just, as a paddler, it's your job to get in the boat and take 6 people and work as one canoe to make it move, get through the water.
Oceanside Outrigger is a competitive outrigger racing club, and we participate in races throughout Southern California as part of the Southern California Outrigger Canoe Racing Association, or SCORA.
SCORA is sort of the parent organization. All the outrigger clubs from San Diego up to Santa Barbara are in the organization as member clubs, and we also have clubs from Arizona that have joined us, and they actually come across the desert and race with us in the ocean.
The Oceanside Outrigger Club is a strong competitor in comparison to the other teams.
They're a great team. They're a big team. They've got paddling for all levels. They make a strong showing every week.
Like in any sport, there's teams that are better than us, and there's teams that we're better than them. We're on the podium every race.
This is their race. So, you know, they bring the food to the race, they do the race shirt. This is a great race, it's a great venue. The Oceanside Canoe Club puts it on, and they host all of us here. We had a very challenging course today.
The conditions today are pretty tough. a lot of wind that has come up, and of course wind makes waves.
The AMA side of the canoe is really the only stable part. It's the stabilizing part. But in choppy swell like we had out there today, it can lift the AMA up rather quickly. And if the crew can't respond, over you go, and everybody's in the water. During the 9-man racing, we actually execute changes during the race. We start with 6, and as we go through the race, probably about anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, the paddlers will change out.
Up to 3 people would jump out of the boat, the canoe, while 3 people would jump in, and that continues on a regular basis.
It's all about keeping the boat speed up. And so we had some challenging swells. A few of the boats ended up upside down.
There were stories of up to several boats from several different clubs had their boats swamped by waves, which meant that the waves would come over the side of the canoe, filled the canoe with water, and thus basically stopped their forward momentum.
Before we even got to the first turn, I probably saw half a dozen canoes that had flipped over.
Hit a few swells and our boat filled up with water. So unfortunately, we had to turn back.
It was insane. I've never been in conditions like that today.
We were bailing, and we had a pretty good position. So, you get a little bit of a panic, but then everyone was trying to make calls and recover.
Just really exciting, a lot of fun.
That made it a little exciting today.
Good day today.
Rocking all the way.
And we have age groups that start from 12 and under that go all the way up to, 55 and up. So everybody can participate.
We enjoy spending time on the water paddling and the camaraderie of the people that belong in the club.
For me, I think any chance to get out on the water is a good opportunity, so come on out, try it out.
I do recommend it. It's good for team building, and it's exciting, so I do recommend it. Good workout, extremely fun, good people.
It's all about aloha spirit. The whole outrigger community is really about just welcoming anyone who wants to take the opportunity.
The aloha spirit is a universal spirit. You can run into an outrigger paddler as far away from here as, say, Miami, and you immediately have a bond because you share a knowledge of being on the ocean together.
Just being about the ocean and being respectful of your teammates, your boat, the ocean, your family, your friends. So, come on out. Everybody should give it a try.
There is a very strong bond in having a strong ohana or camaraderie just makes it a lifelong sport.
I think the teamwork, the camaraderie, the challenge that the ocean brings every time that you go out and compete are the kinds of things that you don't want to miss in life.
You've been watching Inside Oceanside. You can see this program, as well as other KOCT programs, on demand at our website, KOCT.org. Thanks for joining us, and keep watching. We may be in your neighborhood next time on Inside Oceanside.